coming out. Especially big thanks to the Rock County Progressives and Basics for hosting this forum, for us to have kind of a town hall discussion for you guys to get to know us, and I think also for us to get to know the voters and the progressives of Rock County. I guess just a little bit about myself, to introduce myself to some of you who may not know me. Again, my name is Sam Liebert, not Liebert. I know it's the German, someone added a vowel at Ellis Island, I don't know. But it's pronounced Liebert. I've been on the city council now for just a little over a year. I've called Janesville my home for 22 years. I moved here when I was 5 years old with my mom, who for the longest time was a state employee. So I know how hard and how underappreciated our state employees are. She worked at the Department of Motor Vehicles, so I have to give her a lot more credit for being able to do that job for 20-some years. Pretty much, all I know is Janesville as my home, except when I grew up. I went to the elementary schools here. I went to UW Rock County for my associate's degree, and I really got actually involved in politics while I was in college. The whole John Kerry thing was going on. I started up the first two-year campus in Wisconsin for the College Democrats of America group, and just kind of got it rolling from there. A little bit about my work ethic, my work history and experience in politics. My first paid job was actually working for former Senator Russ Feingold. I worked for his Political Action Committee Progressive Patriots Fund, which is now Progressives United, which is leading the charge against Citizens United. So I'm really proud of the work I did with Russ there. After that, I moved to Iowa for a little bit. I worked for the two-term governor there, Tom Vilsack, who later went on to run for president for about 5 minutes. And I dropped out when Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton got in the race. And then I ended up transitioning to the Obama campaign. I had a lot of options after that, but I decided to go with the president, then Senator Obama, because I felt a really keen connection to him. Not just the race thing, but the fact that he had grown up from very humble beginnings and was able to overcome a lot through things like Pell Grants to go on to college, and he understood what it was like to watch his parent live paycheck to paycheck, and he knew what it was like to kind of come from that background. So I really related to the senator. I started on this campaign in Iowa. I worked in about 13 primary states between then and the general election, and ended up on the Florida senior staff as the Deputy State Director of Operations. And then I had a choice to come back home or go on to D.C., and I really thought it'd be a chance of a lifetime to try to work for the White House. And so I was given that opportunity. I served a 12-month term as a Deputy White House Liaison to the Department of Agriculture. I really kind of cut my teeth in the agriculture department there, but I learned so much more about what agriculture does for us, whether you're urban or rural. A lot of it has to do with food stamp programs, WIC, the Women with Infant Children programs, and how important those are. And to be in D.C. and to watch Republicans try to slash these really important and critical programs that so many people depend on. And like Deb said, she sees working class people come in and day out of Health Net. It's the same thing. People are working full-time, they're working 2, 3, 4 jobs, but they still need a little leg up. And the Republicans, to balance the budget or to satisfy these no-tax raising petitions, which I got one in the mail the other day, I just threw it out, by Norquist and all these crazy right-wing guys, it's really disturbing. And so I really got a better understanding of agriculture and what a lot of these social programs do. After that, I came back home. I worked for Tom Barrett's first campaign against Scott Walker, and I had a really good chance there to get to know the mayor personally, to work in Milwaukee politics. But the one thing I did learn when I was in Milwaukee was I met a lot of Milwaukee politicians, and a lot of them have been there for a long time, and I think a lot of them forgot why they got elected in the first place. And I saw some of the folks running for council back here in Janesville going into 2011, and I thought, I can do better than some of these guys. So I went out, I moved back home, I got a job here, went back to school, and ran for council and won. And the thing that I think is really important about public service is, I love it because you're able to give back. For the longest time, growing up in a lower to moderate income household, you're not able to give back. People are giving to you. And I think when you're finally in a chance to give back, I think it's everyone's responsibility. I think people should be obligated to give back when they're able to. And that's why I love public service so much. I love serving on the council. I know Kevin loves being on the board. I know Gary loved being on the council. I learned a lot from him. I'm sure Deb loved being on the school board. And I'm glad to see too that local municipal folks are running for office, because I think that's important. Obviously, Joe Nylands doesn't know squat about being a leader or a public servant. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't. He's just some unemployed dude walking around, and someone said, "Hey, you should run for office." And he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And we had a bad year in 2010, and I think we've all learned our lesson on what happens when you vote for someone who you think might be a moderate, like Joe claims to be. And obviously, it turned out not to be the truth. But I'm here tonight just to hopefully get some good questions from you guys. I know we'll all get some good questions, but I do want to say that no matter what happens after August 14th, I know I've talked individually with all three of us up here, or all four of us up here. We're all going to be on the same page on the 15th. We're all going to be 100% committed the next day to working together. No matter what happens, we're all going to be financially fine after this. Like, we're not doing this for the money. No one gets into politics for the money, unless you're like an oil lobbyist or something. But we're all going to be fine. The next day, we're going to get together. We're going to exchange volunteer lists. We're going to go around and swap out yard signs to make sure all the good positions are hit. I mean, we're going to be all together, united on the 15th, no matter what happens. And so again, I do thank everyone for being here. I just feel really humbled to even have the chance to run for this position. I never would have guessed it a couple years ago, but that's a great thing about our country and our state. And thank you for being here.